There's a story that I tell that I will also show you how it's used in some of the apps that we use in doing ACEs about little Billy. I had this client whose name was Bill, they called him Billy, and he was sitting in my office. At the time he was about 30 years old or so, and Billy, as he sat in my office, he had depression, he had a drug problem, and he and I were sitting together like we're talking right now, and I said, what do you think are some of the origins of this? Where did this start? And he said, well, he can remember when he was little, his parents used to argue and fight a lot. Well, as they did this really troubled him, but he said, I remember one day in particular, I was about 7 years old, and I was sitting in my room, and as I was playing with my toys, sitting in my room, I heard this yelling and screaming, and I went running out to the living room, and there was Mom and Dad having this huge argument. They were throwing things at each other, and as I ran into the living room, my dad turned over and looked at me and said, I hate you and I'm leaving, and he turns and he runs and he walks out the door. Well, little Billy at 7, witnessing it, thought what? Right, that it was his fault, that he caused it. We call that guilt. Well, he thought he caused it, therefore if he caused it, he thought he had to fix it. So he goes, how can I fix it? Well, in his 7-year-old mind, he thought, I know, I'll be good. So he sets out to be good. He does his chores, he does his homework, he does everything he can think of to be good, and in spite of that, his mom and dad still get divorced. Now he thinks what? What I did wasn't good enough. In short, I'm not good enough, and in 7-year-old speak, I'm bad. So now he feels guilt, I caused it, I'm not good enough, I'm bad, shame, and this really affects him, it really troubles him, so much so that he starts to do poorly in school. Well, there's more proof that he's what? He's bad. Well, he starts to isolate and withdraw and act differently, and the other kids notice this and they start to tease him and bully him. Well, there's more proof that he's what? Bad. As he gets a little older, thinking of himself as bad, he starts hanging out with who? The bad kids. And when bad kids hang out together, they do what? Bad things. One of the bad things they do might be drugs. So as he gets older, more bad things happen because of the drug use, because of him thinking of himself this way. Here he is sitting in my office, depressed, using drugs, still thinking of himself as what? Bad. He's still thinking like a 7-year-old. Well, of course, that's not true. What is true about Billy? Well, certainly not what he thinks is true. So our job would be then at that point to deal with that core belief, I'm bad, because it wasn't true to begin with, it's not true now, and all of the things that are based upon that belief being true are invalid.